How good are your skills when it comes to sorting and filtering data in Microsoft Excel? Well, you can take this challenge to find out. You'll have 4 questions from easy to hard to test those skills, and you can find a link to download the spreadsheet in the description below. I encourage you to give it a try and see how you do. Well, that being said, let's get to it. Okie dokie, let's get started. For question number 1, your task is to sort the data by last name and then by first name in alphabetical order. To pull this off, start by selecting all of the data, including the headers. With the data selected, right-click and select Sort, and then Custom Sort. In the dialog box that appears, make sure that the box next to My Data Has Headers is checked, and after that, go ahead and click on this button right here to add a sorting level. Now you want to sort by last name and then by first name in alphabetical order or A to Z. So for the first level, select last name and then leave the order set to A to Z. Then for the second level, select first name and then leave the order set to A to Z. You can then finish up by clicking on OK. You now have the data sorted by last name and then by first name. Awesome. From here, we can go ahead and move on to question number 2. For question number 2, your goal is to filter the data so that you can only see those records with a last name starting with letter A. So, to complete question 2, begin by selecting the data, and then in the ribbon, click on Sort and Filter, and then select Filter. You should now see the filter buttons applied to the headers of your data. At this point, click on the Filter button for the last name column, and then under Text Filters, select Begins With. In the dialog box that appears, make sure that this box right here says Begins With, and then in the box next to it, type in the letter A. You can then click on OK. And now you have your data filtered by the last names starting with the letter A. How cool is that? Okie dokie, let's move on to question number 3. For question number 3, your goal is to write a formula to return the 3 members of the Addams family sorted from youngest to oldest. To solve question 3, start by selecting cell F5. You select cell F5 because you want to select the top left most cell of where your results will be. In this case, that is cell F5. Now with F5 selected, enter the following formula. Equals, sort function, filter function, and for the first argument of the filter function, select the range B5 through D16. You select this range because you want back every field from the source data. Now for the second argument of the filter function, select the range B5 through B16, which contains all of the last names. Next, add an equal sign, and then type in Addams in quotes. You do this because you are testing to see which last names are equivalent to Addams. You can then close parentheses to complete the filter function. Now for the second argument of the sort function, you want to sort by age, and the age is in the third column of the resulting data. So you enter in the value of 3. And finally, for the third argument of the sort function, you enter in 1 to sort the data in ascending order, or in this case, youngest to oldest. You can then close parentheses and hit enter. And just like that, you get back the 3 members of the Addams family sorted from youngest to oldest. Awesome. That finishes question 3, so you can go ahead and move on to question number 4. For question number 4, your task is to write a formula to get back everyone who shares a last name with the selected individual, including that individual. Now, of course, we could look at the selected individual, which in this case is Linda, and see what her last name is, which is Addams. And then we could return the members of the Addams family like before. But the problem is that the selected individual might change. So we need to write a formula that can dynamically update if the selected individual does in fact change. With that in mind, start by selecting cell F7, which is the top leftmost cell of where the results will be, and after that, enter the formula, equals, filter function, and then select the range of data in B5 through D16. After that, select the range of last names for the second argument, and then add an equal sign. Now you want to see which last names are equivalent to the last name of the selected first name. So you need to use another function that will return the last name based on the selected first name. In this case, I'd say the best function to use here would be the XLOOKUP function. So enter the XLOOKUP function. Then for the first argument of the XLOOKUP function, select the first name in cell G4. Then for the second argument, select the list of first names in C5 through C16. And finally, for the third argument, select the last names in B5 through B16. You can then close parentheses twice and then press the Enter key. Now if we take a closer look at this formula, the XLOOKUP function searches for the selected first name and then returns the corresponding last name. The last name is then used by the filter function to filter all of the data. And as a result, you end up with everyone who shares a last name with the selected individual, including that individual. And that officially completes the last question and your 6th Spreadsheet Life Excel challenge. I wonder, how did you do? Did you actually find that sorting and filtering was difficult, or was it pretty easy? Or were some questions hard and others easy? Let me know in the comments below. I'd be really curious to hear how you did. Also, if you got some value out of this video or you just had a jolly good time, I encourage you to like and subscribe. That being said, thanks for sticking around, and until next time, I will see you in the next Spreadsheet Life video.